Good morning.
Yep, good morning.
All right, I'm just trying to get all the technical stuff, and then I'm going to call roll here in just a second. Give everybody a chance to get in there. All right. So let's see. We've got Joseph City and Holbrook. All right. So as far as the calling the roll, everyone, it's all mixed up on the. I mean, you're all together, like as if it's one class. So anyway, let's see how it goes. So Andres.
Here.
Desiree.
She's here.
Okay. Naomi.
Here.
Raylyn.
Here.
Caitlin.
She's absent.
Okay, thank you. Avery.
Here.
Cyrus.
Here.
Tara.
Here.
Is it Tara or Tara?
It's Tara.
Okay. Jay.
Here.
Lauren.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Ricky.
Here.
Seth.
Here.
Madison.
Here.
Let's see, Kinsley.
Here.
Okay, so Kinsley, somehow your name is backwards in the Moodle. Did you sign into the Moodle?
Yes.
Okay, so you might look and see if you can edit because it's got your first name where your last name should be and vice versa. So
Okay.
if you could fix that, if you can't, then let me know and I'll have them, because otherwise it's going to have, like on your official transcript, it's going to be messed up and everything. So we need to take care of that.
Okay.
So if you can fix it, great. If not, let me know. All right, Sierra.
She's here. Here.
Okay, thank you. Hannah? Oh, let's see. Oh, I don't know what you're seeing. Let's see what you're seeing. Okay.
Remember, phones and any other work away. Don't be on any of that stuff. Oh, found it.
Okay. I can't see what you're seeing. You guys see me at the desk?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. All right. So we'll fix that too. Okay. Let's see. Hannah.
Here.
Awesome.
Here.
Kylie.
Is that a different class?
Cottrell.
Here.
Rebecca.
Here.
Jill.
Here.
Alicia. Serena.
Here.
Anna Marie. Oh, it goes by Anna, I think, right? Anna?
Ina.
Ina. Okay, so you're there. And was Serena there? Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay, so absent, I have Alicia, Kylie, and Caitlin.
Yes.
Is anybody else, any of those three just come in?
No.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so the next thing we want to do is I want to go over the syllabus. Okay, so why am I still... Okay. Okay, so now can you see me on the board? And you can see the board? And you can see the other students? Okay, all right, well, that's what we want. So at any time, if there's a problem with what you're seeing or what you're hearing, I want you to let me know, and just so we can work it out. There's still a couple of, they've updated the software that I'm using, and so it's still a little glitchy. Like right now, I'm supposed to see what you see, and I don't see that. So I'm a little bit disconcerted. But anyway, this is Math 152, college algebra. And so, this is, I'm excited to be teaching you here. We're going to have a good semester, and you're going to get college credit for free. So how many of you are taking other talent classes besides mine? Okay, so about half. Okay, all right. Well, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a little bit of some differences or whatever. Now, pretty much everything I go over with you is going to be on the Moodle. So let me just kind of go to the Moodle. Whoops, that's not the Moodle. This is the Moodle. Okay, so, and of course, a lot of things I will, unhide or open to you as we go. But I know you've taken the course from Miss Heaster, so you should all be familiar with the Moodle. And so I do everything through the Moodle. I post everything I want you to see, all the assignments I want you to do, everything is going to be done through the Moodle. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do, if you haven't accessed the class Moodle, is you probably want to do that before class tomorrow. Okay. Now I'm going to go over the syllabus. So under course information, the Math 152 syllabus, that's kind of what we're going to go over here first of all. Okay. Now, my name is Jeff Strong. I've introduced you to myself to all of you here. I've got my contact information, my office and cell phone, my email. My office is here in Holbrook, and so at the PDC Painted Desert campus. If any of you ever want to stop by, that would be super cool. Once I had a guy I'd taught for 2 years and never had met in person. And he comes in and he's like 6'5" on the baseball team, and I had no idea it was that big, that tall. So here's my office hours listed. Now I know with being in the high school, office hours, it's not like you're going to come up and get personal tutoring during my office hours. But if there is a time, like say in the morning or during lunch, you're able to send me an email. Usually during my office hours, I will respond immediately. Otherwise, I say typically I respond to email within 48 hours, but during the office hours, sometimes you can get, almost immediate feedback. So this is the overview of algebra and trig. Now, the fall semester is college algebra. In the spring, we'll take trigonometry, and together they are pre-calculus. So the book that I see that you all have there, the green and white book that says pre-calculus on it, that's what we're going to use for the whole year, for both classes. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to worry about a separate book. It has some of the basic ideas that we're going to be going through this semester. The prerequisite I assume you've all got that. So from this course, you will gain a basic understanding of algebra skills for use in most occupations or as a background for more advanced math and science courses. It is the prerequisite for what we do next semester, Math 189. Okay. Most majors require this class, or if it's equivalent. Some universities you can take logic or something like that. But no matter what your major is, this will satisfy most of the requirements, at least the most basic math requirement for any major. All right, so the things that you need to have the book. You need to, we'll talk more about the book, I guess. And it seems like there's no problem there. You need to have access to a graphing calculator. And, so Mrs. Smith, did our calculators ever come in Holbrook?
Nope, not that I've seen.
Okay, I'll try to follow up with that in the morning, see what we can figure out what's going on. Because we're going to need a graphing calculator. Let's see, and Joseph City, Miss Buckley, did we figure out where the calculators are going to be coming from in Joseph City?
Library.
Library?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're getting them.
Oh, that's right, they checked them out to you guys, right?
Yes.
So, let's see, who didn't have, let's see, Taylor and Jill, I think you guys didn't have one. Were you able to check one out? Yeah?
Yes. Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
I
well,
got
let's
one.
do that today, okay? All right, so you're also going to want, you're going to probably want a 3-ring binder because you're going to have a lot of we're going to talk about the student success organizers for each section. So you're going to want to organize that into either binder, or you can use folders or whatever works for you. But these are the chapters that we're going to go through, chapters 1 through 5 and then 10. Now, the chapter 1 is basically a review of a lot of the topics in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. So it's kind of a big chapter, and then it'll actually pick up the pace. It'll seem like we're forever in chapter 1, but it's okay. And then chapter 10, we'll actually do that in probably one day, the entire chapter. Okay, so it really does pick up the pace. So 3 credit hours. Attendance in this course is required. In any math class, you start missing. I mean, I remember my freshman year in college, I got sick for a couple of weeks. I was able to make up all my classes just perfectly fine, except math. I struggle, and I'm a math guy. But you miss 2 weeks, it's hard to get that back. So the advantage that you guys have is that these classes are recorded. And usually at the end of the week is that I'll post the recordings. And so if you miss class, you can always watch the recording. Now, the attendance, you'll see as we do the grade breakdown, is 3% of your overall grade will be from attendance. So basically, every day you're here, you get 2 points. If you're late or leave early, you get 1 point. If you're absent, you get 0 points. Okay? Now, if your absence is due to a school-related activity where you have no choice, if your coach tells you need to go, you need to go. And I support that. So if you have a school-related absence and you watch the video, you just shoot me an email to that effect, and then I'll give you full points for that day. So you won't lose out on anything if it's not, if it's not your fault, you're gone. Okay? Let's look at the grade breakdown. All right, so the final exam is 30% of your overall grade. The midterm is 20%. Quizzes 23, tests 24, attendance 3%. I don't know why that is messed up there, but okay. And then the grade letter grade breakdown for NPC. So what do you notice there about the grades? About the grading scale, what do you notice? Well, in college classes, there are no pluses and minuses. Most colleges. So that's why I say I cry over 89s. Because an 89 is no better than an 80. And 1 point higher, you would have got an A. Okay, so that's a big breakdown there. So, okay, so quizzes and tests. These will be completed outside of class on the course Moodle. So I'm scheduling those on Wednesdays. Okay. As a matter of fact, this Wednesday you're going to have your first quiz, and the quiz is going to be on the syllabus. Okay. Now you can have the syllabus in front of you when you're taking the quiz, so it should be an easy 5 out of 5 points. Okay. So, but we're going to just kind of see. I'm hoping that we'll just kind of see how the quizzes are going to work. You'll get an idea for taking a quiz on the Moodle. And then it'll be an easy 5 points to start your semester off right. Okay? That's kind of what I'm hoping with this first quiz. Now, it says if you do not turn in a quiz or a test on time, so if you don't take it on Wednesday, and prior arrangements have not been made, you will receive a score of 0. All right, so can anyone tell me what the word prior means?
Before.
Before. So if you email me on Thursday and say, I wasn't able to make it to class on Wednesday, is that prior? No, it's not. So you'll get a 0. Okay? Now, the expectation is even when you're sick, you can still be on your phone, because I've seen it. You're sick, you're still on your phone. You can shoot me a little text or an email saying, I'm sick, I need to make up the quiz on blank. Okay? Now, when we do make up a quiz or a test, then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to talk to your talent aide. So Ms. Smith or Ms. Buckley, and say, okay, Thursday, can I come in and make up this test at this time? So because they have to be able to monitor you, or know that no librarian or somebody else or whatever. Someone is going to be there. So you just work that out with them, and then shoot me an email and say, can I make up the quiz I missed? Can I make it up Thursday at 1 p.m.? And no problem. And what I'll do is I'll unlock it for an hour, but it'll only take you, that first quiz will be like 5 minutes. But usually the quizzes are not going to take you more than 15, 20 minutes. Okay? The other thing about the quizzes and the tests is that these will be open book, open note. So all of the student success organizers that we fill out in class, with all of the practice problems, your book, all of that material you can have out in front of you when you're taking quizzes and tests. So probably the only thing that would slow you down would be if you have to look up some stuff and maybe do a practice problem or something like that, and that's fine. There's no problem there. So open book, open notes, okay, but you can't get help from any other source. So another individual, just your book and notes. That's it. Anything beyond that is cheating. Okay, so don't do that. Okay. Homework assignments. Homework will not be collected or assigned. It is suggested that you do a sample of the odd problems in each section. So when you look at the student success organizers, and I think you've all received or had some of those, you'll see that there's a list of suggested problems. I would suggest you do those before you take the quiz on that section. Usually I assign like every other odd, so to not bog you down, so that you can always check your answers in the back of the book. But that's up to you. If it takes you 5 problems to feel comfortable with it, or 10 or 20 or whatever, you need to make sure. I think it would be a disastrous idea to think that the quiz is going to be the first time that you've done any of those problems. That would be a recipe for low grades on your quiz, that you want to try and practice those. Now, when you're doing the practice problems from the book, yes, I would suggest you work together, help one another, compare answers, compare steps, see if you're getting it right. And then, that's no problem. It's just when you're taking the quizzes and tests and so on, you can't help one another. Okay. Midterms, final exams, these will be proctored. Also taken on the Moodle. If you missed taking the midterm and the final and prior arrangements have not been made, you will receive a score of 0. So this past summer, I'm teaching this class over the summer, and I'm actually calculating grades, putting in grades. One of my students sends me an email and says, "Oh, Mr. Strong, I was out of town. I was in Las Vegas. We were having fun with my family, and I didn't get around to taking the final. So when can I take it?" So what do you think I said? You got a 0. It's already done. The grades, I'm computing grades at this point. And so she's like, "Well, that's not fair. If I get a 0 on the final, I'm probably going to fail the class." And I'm thinking, maybe you should have thought of that before you went to Vegas for the weekend. Okay? It really, the key to anything is working things out with me ahead of time. Is you need to communicate. Get that? You've got my email. If the time to communicate is when there first is a problem or a situation, don't hesitate to communicate with me. It's not like you can come by and see me, because we're at different locations. So, but don't hesitate to email me if there's any issue at all. Okay. In that case, where if she had to go out of town, probably what I would have suggested that she do is take the final before she went to Las Vegas. She actually had like a week that she could have taken it. Okay. So, but I would definitely work things out with you if you make arrangements with me ahead of time. Now, one thing I would ask whenever you communicate with me is that let me know that you're in Talon, Math 152, and then I'm going to call you guys Talon A, because I have 2 Math 152s that I teach through Talon. And so since I teach you guys first, so it'll be the Talon A, Math 152. So if you would put that into your emails, that would be helpful. Okay, let's see, what else? Study tips. Practice daily. The answers to the odd problems are in the back of the book. Those are perfect to do as practice problems. Work on the practice problems with a friend, classmate, or a tutor. When you cannot solve a problem, put it aside and come back to it later. Look at examples in your book or notes or YouTube or Khan Academy. Now, when people say, "Oh, what do I do?" Every semester, I get at least one person that says, "I'm really struggling on these quizzes. What do I do?" And I say, "Well, do you have your notes out when you're taking the quizzes?" No. "Have you tried some of the practice problems in the book?" No. "Have you tried YouTube?" No. "Have you tried Khan Academy?" Just try those things if you're struggling. Okay? All of those things. Some people think YouTube is just for looking up music videos or something. But if you Google, if you do in the search bar, you search whatever topic that we're doing, you'll see like 30 video clips. Everything from like a student in Minnesota that's uploading a practice problem for extra credit for a math teacher, or you'll see an MIT professor giving a 2-hour lecture on that and really getting into all of the details. You can, any of those, from a 3-minute video to a 2-hour video. And so you can find a lot of stuff online. Now, in addition to those resources, what we're going to have is for every lesson, as we finish the lesson, well, before we start the lesson, I'll upload the guided notes, the student success organizers. So you'll have that for every section. Then as we finish, I will upload the videos. So you'll have a video of me teaching the lesson. Then I upload my actual lesson. And so you'll see how the lessons go. And I'll have those, and then we'll get a quiz. So you'll have 4 things from every section. Okay? Let's see. If you cannot find a mistake, start over. Prepare at least 1 question for me each week. Okay? And it does kind of, when a student says to me that they're struggling and they've never asked me a single question, it's kind of hard to know how to help that student. So if you find that you have questions, don't hesitate to bring those to class. We could start each class with a question, going over something that you struggle with. Show your work, because like when you're doing the practice problems, or you're doing the practice problems from the book or on the guided notes, you want to have those worked out in detail so that when you're taking the quiz or the test, you have it all worked out. Don't just put the answer. That's not going to help you. So get into a habit of showing all your work, not for my sake, but for your sake, so that you kind of see what you need to do. All right, get a free tutor if needed. Tutor.com is it's a paid tutoring service that MPC has actually bought a contract for all of the students. And you guys are MPC students. So if you go to tutor.com, then you can get help on any question. And they try to not just give you the answer, but actually work you through it and help you understand. So that would be another resource. All right. Let's see. So any questions so far? Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Okay. So 2 points as far as classroom management, 2 points of emphasis for me. One, as I mentioned, that we're going to do on Wednesdays, we're going to do the tests and the quiz. So the first quiz on Wednesday, I would like you to take on the syllabus. And then Mr. Fritz, Ed Fritz, is going to provide extra practice on Wednesdays. And so when you come, that will be just a day where you can work through some of those practice problems and say, hey, could you do number 17 on page 49 or whatever, and just ask, and it's just for the ideas for extra practice. But your first priority on Wednesdays is to take any quizzes and tests that I've posted, then do the tutoring. Okay, now the rest, just some more information. At the end of the semester, you'll have a course improvement survey. I usually give extra credit for that, and I'll tell you when that's available. Disability resource. If you have any special needs that I need to be aware of, don't hesitate to contact me. And actually, it was because of that what a student said to me once. That's why you have the guided notes in front of you, is because of a student had some special needs. He had some hard time taking notes. So it could help anybody. All right. And then the conduct code, the honesty, academic honesty. You have to make sure that you're aware of. Like I said when I met you guys, is one thing. It's awesome being college students, but also being college students, you know, it's great being treated like an adult until it's not. So one reason why it's not, when it might not be great, is if there's an issue of like dishonesty or cheating, then you don't just get like a slap on the wrist like in high school. You copy somebody's notes, no big deal. In college, if you're caught cheating, then, you know, there could be hearings and lawyers, and anyway, we don't want to deal with that. But like in kind of like manner, Safe College, basically you have the right to feel safe and comfortable in your college environment. And I don't care if it's in high school or not. I mean, I taught in a high school where, you know, sometimes it seemed like there was quite a bit of sexual harassment going on. And anyway, you have to know that's not going to be tolerated at all in the real world. And so I don't know what the culture is at your school. Well, I know a little bit, I guess, but if there is an issue, don't hesitate to report it to me, or you can report it to a dean. There was some high school kids in, well, I won't tell you where, in this area, that they actually had to get lawyers, and, you know, they were going to get suspended. I mean, it was some pretty serious stuff, and because they were harassing this girl in their class. So anyway, it's taken very seriously. So with having said all of that, I am looking forward to teaching this semester. I'm excited to start another year, get new students. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns that we haven't talked about?
When you say to prepare at least one question for you each week, are we then going to show you the question? Like, are we going to?
No. That's just a suggestion. Like, if you have a question for me, it's not required that you do that. But I'm just saying, if you start struggling or whatever, I want you to ask me questions. You know, don't save them all for Mr. Fritz. I mean, he would be good to ask too, but I don't want you to ever hesitate, like thinking, oh, Mr. Strong's got so much material to teach us. No, answering your questions is really important to me. So I want you to feel like that you can prepare questions for me. Say, you know, please do this. Okay, so the other point of emphasis is calculators out, cell phones up. Okay, I don't want to have to compete with a cell phone. Last year, one of my students actually couldn't not check her phone every minute. She could not go a single minute. And I need all your brains, okay? I need 100% of your brain so that you can master this material. And that's why it annoys me when there's like distractions going on, or somebody keeps coming into your classroom or making noises or whatever. I don't want any of that. Okay? I don't want any of that for your sake. And phones are a huge distraction. So please put those away, but get out calculators. That's what I want. Okay? Now, I don't know why, but I guess it was about 10 years ago, Texas Instruments actually came out with a calculator that was kind of a wireless calculator. And so you could actually text people in your room through your calculator. Okay? So guess what ended that? Why they quit doing that, putting that technology in the calculator. Any ideas? Well, Lauren, are you about to say something? Oh, I wasn't sure if you were unmuting there.
We were just kind of talking to ourselves about it, but people just abusing texting each other with their calculators.
Well, yeah. And during tests, they would text each other the answers. I mean, how insane is that? You work out the problem on your calculator and then just shoot it to everybody in the room. So anyway, but yeah, texting can be crazy. But okay. Well, so let's, any other questions about the syllabus? Okay. So just kind of going back. Now, you're not going to see all of this when you look at the Moodle, but you'll see kind of some stuff here, some different communication tools, learning resources, math resources, tutor.com. Okay, then when we get into chapter 1, see what I have unhidden right now is the Student Success Organizer that you all have in your possession. But if you lose it, you can always download another one, print it out, whatever you do. And then as we get the videos, I will upload those, and then the lesson and the quiz for each section. Okay? All right. Well, now what I want to do, we only have a few minutes, but I do want to kind of give you a little idea of how my teaching goes. So as I start a new section, what I would recommend you do then is to get out the Student Success Organizer for that section. Okay? So here we have section 1.1, the real numbers in algebraic expressions. Okay, so here at the top, I've got the practice problem suggestions. So it's page 14, 1 to 97, EOO. So EOO means every other odd. So you do number 1, skip 3, do 5, skip 7, do 9, and so on. So that way you get kind of a smattering of the different levels of problems. Okay, then the vocabulary, I don't actually give those definitions. I don't say, okay, the origin is. Instead, what I do is these are words that I use in the lesson. And sometimes they'll appear in a quiz. But all of the vocabulary in each section is found in the book. Okay? It's nothing, it's nowhere else. It's, well, I mean, it could be other places, but it's all in the book. Okay? All right, then what I do is there's, for each section, for each part, I have a little bit of notes, and then I do an example, and then I do a practice problem. Okay? So the note part, what I would like you to do is to fill out the Student Success Organizer. That's the idea, is it's more like fill in the blank, so you don't have to write down everything, but you're still taking notes. That'll help you remember. So you have the note part. Then I do an example. Now, typically what I would suggest is while I'm going over an example, you don't take notes. You just watch it. Just watch me work. And then the practice problem that's on your sheet will be a similar problem, and then that's one where you'll want to, show it in detail, make little notes to yourself, or star this step, or whatever. Okay? So let's just go through this first part here. All right. Okay, so we're starting off kind of defining the different types of numbers. Okay, so in this part on your sheet where it says the natural or counting numbers, you might want to, put this part in blue. So the natural or counting numbers is abbreviated with this bold N, and that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's like, the Sesame Street numbers, right? The numbers you first learn to count with. The whole numbers is the set of natural numbers plus 0. So if you just add 0 to that set, then you get the whole numbers. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and so on. So the dot, dot, dot means it goes on forever. The integers is the set of the whole numbers and their opposites. So, and it's abbreviated with this bold Z. So dot, 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 -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, dot, dot, dot. So all of the whole numbers and their opposites. Okay. Now, also, as I go through the different slides, if ever you need to slow me down or a little minute, then just don't hesitate to. That's not a problem. Okay. All right, next we have a rational number. So that we use Q for the rational numbers for quotient. Because a rational number is any number that can be written as a quotient or a fraction. So like the number 2/3 is a quotient, so that's a rational number. It's a ratio of two integers. So 7, any whole number integer, you can write it over 1. So all the integers are rational numbers and negatives as well. So anything you can write as a fraction is going to be a rational number. So it comes from ratio or comparison of two things. So an irrational number, the prefix ir means not. So that means not rational. So if you can't write it as a ratio of two integers, then it's irrational. So like the square root of 2 was one of the first irrational numbers that was discovered. But it's kind of interesting because, most people in their everyday work a couple thousand years ago, most of the jobs, most of the math that was required were just whole numbers, maybe some negatives, fractions, rational numbers. But most people didn't deal with like square root of 2 so much. And so the average person would hear these mathematicians talk about like the square root of 2 or irrational numbers, and they said that they were crazy. And so even today, when someone is acting crazy, we say that they're behaving irrationally. And so that's where that phrase comes from, is because people didn't believe in those numbers. Okay? Then if we put together the rationals and the irrationals together, then we get the real numbers. So the real numbers are designated by the bold R for real numbers. Okay? So if we have a set and we want to kind of break them down, we'll say, okay, what are the natural numbers in this set? So you got to think, well, what are the natural numbers? That's like the counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so here, as we go along, it wouldn't be any of the negatives, wouldn't be 0, wouldn't be the square root of 2, wouldn't be this. Okay, now the square root of 9, that's a little tricky because that simplifies to 3. So 3 is a natural number. So we'd have 3, and then 10 to the 17th, even though that's a huge number, if you were counting, you would eventually get that to that number. And so those, even though they're both a little tricky, would be considered natural numbers. All right, then the whole numbers are going to be the natural numbers, so these same two, plus 0. Okay? And then the integers would have all of these 3 whole numbers. And then, let's see, as we look along the negatives, see the decimal or the fraction, these aren't going to simplify. So negative 15 would be the other integer. Okay? So all the whole numbers plus negative 15. Okay? All right, so now I would like you to do practice 1 on your paper and just kind of write down what you have there for each one. All right, so Andres, when you have A, let us know. Now, if you're still working, don't hurry or anything. We're not trying to push you along, but just whenever you have the answer to A. Okay, somebody needs to unmute in Holbrook so he can tell me the answer.
Okay.
So would it just be 19 or?
Okay. Would it just be 19? Okay,
Yeah.
19 and 2 to the 5th. So even though that's a big number, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 32 I guess is not that huge, but that's going to be a whole number as well. It's just written in exponential form. Right? All right, so Desiree, how about the next one?
19 and 2 to the 5th.
Any other ones?
0 over 15.
0 over 15. That's right. I heard a still small voice telling you. So, because that simplifies to 0. Okay? And so 0 is a whole number. All right, next, the integers. Naomi.
It would be 19, 2 to the 5th, 0 over 15, let's see, negative 4.3, and then I think, yeah, that's it.
Actually, negative 33 is an integer, but not negative 4.3 because of the decimal part. The integers are the whole numbers and they're negative. So you can't have decimal parts on there. Okay? So all those 3 and negative 33. Okay? All right. So let's see. How about Raylyn? How about the next one? The rational numbers.
Thank you.
0 over 15.
Okay. All right, so remember, all of the integers you can always put over 1 and make it a rational number. So all of these answers, plus negative 33, all these 4 would be rational numbers. Now, are there any other ones to add to this group? Well,
Negative 4.
go ahead.
Negative 4.3.
Yes, because any decimal you can also write as a fraction. So negative 4.3, so that's, well, let's see. Okay, so that's all of them but radical 3. But yeah, if we could also include negative 4.3. And so then what one can't we write as a fraction? That would be radical 3.
Negative radical 3.
Yeah, radical 3. Okay, and then what about the real numbers? Okay, so which of those are real, Caitlin?
She's not.
Oh,
She's
Caitlin,
not.
go. Okay, so let's go to Avery. Which of those numbers are real?
All of them?
All of them. Okay. Well, can anybody give me an example of a number that's not real?
Right?
What did you say?
I was going to say negative 1 under a radical, right?
Yes. Yes, the I or the imaginary. Okay, that's not real. So, and we'll study those later, but for right now, we're just focusing on the real numbers. Okay? All right. So that's a good place to stop. So we're going to go ahead and stop there, and we'll pick it up from there tomorrow. And then, so what I would like you to do before class tomorrow is just make sure that you can access the Moodle, okay? And if there's any problems with that, let me know. Oh, now one thing that I found out at Holbrook High School is I was having some problems with the Moodle, and so this might be at Joseph City. It depends, if the browser is not updated, you could have problems. And so you might either switch browser or ask them to update it, okay? Because they got a brand new Moodle update. So if you start seeing weird stuff and you're in Chrome, then go to Firefox or whatever, okay? All right, any questions or comments before we call it? All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.